This series of darts tactics videos is aimed at beginner through intermediate level dart players who already know the basics of the game and want to learn how to improve their chances of winning through correct shot selection. In the first two videos in this series, we talked about tactics to employ when playing any 0-1 game such as 5-0-1. We discussed shot selection to get to an outshot and tactics for maximizing your chances of taking out a 3-dart finish. In the third video we covered 2-dart finishes on numbers 16 below, so in this fourth video in the series we'll complete the discussion on outshots by looking at the numbers 110 down to 61. But first let's recap some of the principles discussed in those earlier videos. Unless your aim is totally random, you will find that most of your darts will fall within a circle around your target. For skilled players the circle will be small, and for less skilled players it will be big, but the point is, even the most skillful players will miss their target some of the time. Double bull is the smallest target on the board, and is, consequently, the most difficult to hit. You can win on it, but unless you only have one dart in hand and your opponent is on a finish, you should always look to shoot a single to leave yourself on an outer ring double with your next shot. For example, throw a single 10 to leave double 20. On your next visit to the board you will have 3 attempts at a finish, and an outer ring double is over 3 times the area of the double ball, so it should be easier to hit. When aiming at a treble, be aware that if you miss it, you stand a good chance of hitting a single of that same number. You can use this knowledge to your advantage when choosing which treble to throw at. For example, if your score is on 122 and you have 3 darts in hand, you should never throw at triple 20, because a single 20 leaves 102, which cannot be finished with 2 darts. If you don't know what you should shoot at in this situation, go back and review the second lesson in this series. Okay, let's get back to the numbers 110 through 61. When throwing for numbers in this range, it is particularly important to know whether or not your opponent is on an outshot. If they are not on an outshot, then you know that you will have another visit to the board if you don't finish this time. So you might choose to use your darts in this visit to leave your favourite double for the next visit. But if your opponent is on an outshot, then you must try to take a shot at finishing, even if it means having to shoot for the double bull with your last dart. Let's start with the numbers 80 to 61. I've listed the recommended outshots from the standard chart that came with my dartboard. If you have 2 darts in hand and you need to finish this visit, then your options are limited. Every number can be finished by hitting the recommended treble and double, but if you miss the treble, you can't finish with your next dart. The best you can do is to set up a double for your next visit and hope you get one. For example, on 70, the chart recommends throwing at treble 18. As we've just discussed, when throwing at a treble there's a significant chance that you'll hit the single instead. If you hit single 18, you're left with 52, and you can't finish that with 1 dart. On 70, with 2 darts in hand, I'd shoot for treble 20. If I hit the treble, I have double 5 left. Now that's no one's favourite double, but at least I have a chance to win the game from there. If I hit a single 20 instead, I'm left with 50, a double bull, so I still have a shot at a finish. You can apply the same principle to each number from 70 down to 61. If you need to finish with 2 darts, throw at a treble which, if you only hit the single, will leave you with a shot at double bull. I've adjusted the out chart to show this. If you have 3 darts in hand, then it becomes a whole different game. Every number from 80 to 61 can be finished with 2 singles and an outer ring double. So you can either play safe and throw at the fat part of the 2 singles required to leave 1 shot at the double, or you can throw at a treble with the first dart, hoping to get 2 shots at a double. Continuing with 70 as our example, if you choose to throw 2 fat singles to leave a double, you have a lot of options. To leave double 20, your first 2 darts must total 30. So perhaps you could shoot single 15, single 15, and tops. Obviously, if you prefer double 18, then you need 34, so 2 17s perhaps. And of course, 2 single 19s would leave double 16. There are many options. So once again, the principle is, if you choose to throw to treble, just make sure it's a number where, if you get the treble, you're on a double. But if you only hit the single, you've still got a fat single to leave a double option. In every example listed on the left of the board, if you throw at the first single shown but hit its treble, you'll be left on a double. Most of my suggestions end in double 20 because I like finishing on tops. Now, I know some people don't, so if you followed this video series and if you're understanding the principles that I'm trying to communicate, then by now you should be able to figure out different combinations to get to a double that you do like. So get on your practice board and work it out. To complete our discussion on outshots, let's look at 110 to 81. There are several numbers below 110 that cannot be finished with 2 darts. I've listed them on the right. All of the numbers on the left can be finished with 2 darts if necessary. As always, if you have 3 darts in hand, then you can use this to your advantage to maximize your chances of throwing for a double to win the game with your 3rd dart. But let's start by assuming we only have 2 darts. Perhaps your first dart bounced out, or your first dart scored and brought you down to one of these numbers. Once again, I've listed the recommended combinations from the outchart that came with my board. Numbers down to 91 are pretty much limited to the combinations shown. From 90 downwards, you can go other ways if you wish. For example, on 86, you could go treble 20, double 13. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but you could. The bottom line is, to finish with 2 darts, you must hit a treble with your first dart. If you have 3 darts in hand, you need to rethink some of the combinations shown. It's still desirable to hit a treble with the first dart and leave 2 darts at a finish, but you must be sure to aim at the right treble. On the right hand side of the screen, I've shown 3 dart combinations where the first dart thrown hits a single rather than the treble recommended in the chart on the left. So for example, for 110, throw at treble 20, but if you hit a single 20, you can finish it with treble 18, double 18. Notice that the bottom numbers on the 3 dart chart all finish on double bull. You would only use this option if you really needed to finish on this visit. The number 90, however, needs some rethinking. The 2 dart chart says to shoot treble 18 first, and that's fine if you only have 2 darts. But with 3 darts, I'm going to shoot at treble 20 first, because if I only hit the single, then I can still get to a finish by hitting another single 20 with my next dart, to leave a double bull. Everything else is acceptable as shown. But if you are fairly confident when throwing at the bull, and you have 3 darts in hand, you can take advantage of the fact that the combined area of the single bull and the double bull is over 3 times the size of a treble. Throwing at the bull when on 85 through 81 can give you a slight advantage, as shown. Regardless of whether you hit a single bull or a double bull, you are left with an easy path to finish on an outer ring double. In fact, hitting a double bull on 84 or 82 leaves you with 2 darts at a finish. Some people also recommend starting on bull when on 95 through 91. I'm in 2 minds on this. It does avoid the need to throw for a treble, but it also increases the odds of your finish being on the double bull. Use it only if you really need to finish this round. And that's it for this lesson. Once again, we've covered a lot of ground, and you now have a lot to think about. In many situations, there might be alternative combinations that better suit your style of play. So get on your practice board and work your way through these numbers. Hopefully I've given you enough ammunition to help you find the best path to winning games. Shoot well.